All right, y'all, we're going to check out this boudoir photography business and see if it has BSS for these two Google searches. All right, so we're in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. And our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we're rising, that means we're attracting, we're bringing in people across the entire intent ladder, high intent to low intent. If we're falling, we're missing peeps somewhere along the intent ladder. We're not successfully bringing them in, or even making them aware we exist. So, BSS, focusing here on this, this profile, this brand, focusing on the highest intent buyers, searching right now for boudoir photo shoots right in their city, social search and Google search. Then our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, focusing on BLCS. Right now, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. And that's actually going to be the lowest intent people, in any location, but it's going to have the highest number of them. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And as a result, if we got 0 slots, we're basically dead, kind of dead in the water for on page 2 or deeper. And that's because we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only Google searches. So they never even go to page 2. So we care about this 80% cohort. This is the bulk of the market. So if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're invisible to them because they ain't clicking any page deeper at all. Now, if we got 1 slot on page 1, it's also as boudoir search sameness because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer. Everyone else on page 1's got most likely 1 link. So anyone going down the Google search, they're clicking us, they're clicking first link, second link, third link, all 10 links, opening up everyone, contacting everyone, getting a quote from everyone, price shopping everyone. And so boudoir search sameness, not good for us. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal, extremely common, but to have that few number of slots page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, which many people know about, which is market saturation, and 2, which basically nobody knows about, is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, it's when someone gets a new iPhone, all of a sudden they're throwing up, Google My Business profile, Google My Business profile, basically increasing and throwing up their website, compete more for page 1 dominance, or they get a new camera, then they start posting them on Facebook groups. So basically they're increasing the supply of boudoir photographers where the number of buyers in the market remains fixed, which means it's making it harder for every current boudoir photographer to get clients. A big tsunami when that happened was when we had COVID. So when we had COVID, massive, when people lost their jobs, they still need to earn an income. So a lot of them came out as boudoir photographers, saturating the market, making it harder for all the current sellers. Now, the second deeper root cause is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is what I've seen is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's basically kind of this false belief is assuming that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, as a result, we, if you got 1 slot, okay, got 1 slot on page 1 and get some more market saturation. All right, we're pushed down onto, basically we're pushed on to, page 2, but that's fine because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. So I guess it's not my time anymore. Hopefully they, they shut down their website. So maybe I got a chance to go back on page 1. But no, that is 100% incorrect. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots to the boudoir photographer that wants as many as they'll put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in only 10 days. And so I know for a fact Google will give the slots to those who truly want them. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because yeah, dude, basically we're either got 0 slots on page 1, around page 2, or deeper. And again, approximately 80% of searchers. The bulk of the market ain't never going to see us because they're page 1 only. And then for 1 slot on page 1, we don't stand out. We're not different. We're being price shopped against everyone who also has, 1 slot on page 1. So what's the solution? We got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, SQ'd methodology. We know this is a solution because we invented it. Again, this is what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days, Google page 1 search. And this is actually the only solution I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Basically, we saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, so we show up there. And once we saturate there, the outcome is actually that flows into those results actually flow onto Google page 1, or Google. And if we get enough signals, obviously that puts us at higher chance Google puts us at Google page 1. So the SQ'd methodology, to use it, we have to accept page 1 equality as a false belief, which kind of breaks that brain barrier to, okay, what's the solution we can use? SQ'd methodology. And it's the only thing that I've seen that actually can successfully fight back against market saturation for boudoir photographers, because imagine we're in San Jose, California. It's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website. We're one of the boudoir photographers. Everyone's trying to be ranked page 1 Google, but we employ SQ'd methodology to the max, where we're taking up the first 300 slots for social search on all the platforms for our highest intent buyer keywords, which then flows onto Google. And let's say we're the first 300 slots on Google for our highest intent keywords as well. Well, that means literally the first 30 pages is filled up with only us on Google organic search. And so when we have that, buyers got to go to page 31 to essentially find any other competitors, and no one's going to page 31. So buyers can essentially only find us. So even if there's max a ton of boudoir photographers, market gets more and more saturated, we stay dominating page 1, which is actually where the bulk of searches stop. Approximately 80% of them. So whose business is growing? Our business is growing. Whose business is disappearing? Everyone else. Even though the market's super saturated. Now, once you're with SQ'd methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Page 1 visibility is getting at least 2 out of 10 slots on page 1, where we're actually looking different. We do have a GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 though, 3 slots out of 10 slots. And once we actually achieve that, we get an extra bonus, which is for every new slot we take up on page 1, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So this is kind of an extra bonus of ranking on page 1, is we're actually kicking a competitor off page 1, and we already know approximately 80% of searchers never even go to page 2. So we effectively make our competitors invisible. But we do want to hit the GBC minimum of at least 3 out of 10. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we don't have 0 out of 1. 0 slots on page 1. We don't have 1 slot on page 1. We do not have 2 slots on page 1. Well, 2 slots on page 1 means we don't have BSS, but that means we have not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And we want to hit that because we actually if we got 3 out of 10 on page 1, we're kicking 2 competitors off, or maybe even 3. Also, we're going to look way more visible than simply having the people with 1 link. And very rarely will there be someone else with two links, but we'll look even better than them as well. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got to get visible. So this is our universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by kind of the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality, the false belief of page 1 equality. And we achieve or we utilize S-cube methodology. That's our solution. We achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So my results using this is my own S-cubed methodology for myself. I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So came in here, gonna look at the organic, and got organic slot 1, Instagram, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So we got 9 out of 10 slots on Google here, simply from utilizing our S-cubed methodology. And this went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And now we're gonna check out this. We're gonna see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, what we've been talking about, boudoir search sameness. All right. The first search, we always do the local search. This is boudoir photographer, Langley Township, British Columbia. So it's out east, some suburb part or whatever of BC. So we got the Google 3-pack. All right. Now we're at the the organic. So we got Klein. All right, this is who we're looking for. So we got one slot. And then let's see. All right, Klein again, but that's Langley Branding Photographer. It's not boudoir. We're not relevant to the keywords that we actually searched. So people's brains are actually going to scroll right by this, not even see it because they're searching for boudoir. And this happens like instantly in their brain. So that doesn't count. Going down, going down, going down. All right, so Klein we got 1 out of 10 here. So that's BSS for this search, the local search. Let's go to the city level search. Now we're searching boudoir photographer Vancouver, BC. So we're still looking for Klein again. All right, we got Klein here, boudoir, all right. And that's it. We got BSS for both searches. So, as more market saturation happens, higher chance, we'll be getting pushed off, that we get pushed off page one to the page 2 of death. And even on page 1, we're looking the same as everyone else, having only, 1 out of 10 links here. So again, this is the false belief of page 1 equality in action, which is actually the most common false belief I'm seeing among boudoir photographers. All right, so if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, and you've done your local search or city search with the highest intent boudoir by your keywords, and you're seeing you got either 0, 1 slots there, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google, and you've accepted that page 1 equality is a false belief. The false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. You're seeing that Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you're actually seeing that S-cube methodology is the only way forward, the only solution for you that can fix this. And you've been waiting for something like this because, the ads, Google PPC, give you a best 1 extra slot, but momentum dies once you stop spending. These do have some momentum that does continue, not infinitely, but these do have momentum. And you like the initial benefits, more slots page 1 on Google. You really like the second initial benefit, kicking your competitors off page 1 on Google, relegating them to page 2, and effectively rendering them invisible to approximately 80% of boudoir buyers that are using Google search. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, more peeps getting new gear, more boudoir photographers enter the market, got it. But you're also looking ahead and seeing, man, AI is taking people's jobs right now. AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs right now. Last time that happened, COVID, big influx of boudoir photographers happened as a result of that in COVID. So realizing, oh man, actually a much bigger wave than before has come to boudoir photography, way more boudoir photographers. And you have decided that, man, you actually need to fortify your position on page 1. You literally need to have so many links, backups to the backup links on Google that they can't rank all your links on page 1, and they stand like, page 2, 3, 4, because Google wants to put them on page 1, but now there's no more room. And you basically need to fortify your page 1 position to essentially guarantee no current competitors rank on page 1, and certainly no new competitors that come in from AI taking their jobs can rank on page 1. So you're seeing all that, and fortifying, kind of like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because the city is below sea level. And you're seeing S-cube methodology is also the only solution for boudoir photographers that can do that. And you want to achieve page one visibility to become a visible boudoir photographer and achieve boudoir search visibility because you understand you need to acquire these things, do all these things on your path to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. You also like the future benefits of utilizing S-Cube methodology now, which we've not talked about yet, but every day we successfully execute S-Cube methodology, we are essentially creating these invisible thematic keyword columns that, plug into our brand, our name, our website, associated with it, kind of out there in cyberspace, digital space, that actually means backend AI mindshare. We increase our backend AI mindshare for all these terms based on frequency, repetition, authority, age, relevance. And every single day we do this, it increases the probability we actually will get recommended for AI overview. So we're kind of building these thematic keyword clusters, invisible thematic keyword columns all around associated with our brand, our handles, everything about us. And AI can parse this. So we increase the probability of this, we increase the probability we also show up AI standard AI search, which is ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. Increase the probability we are showing up in all these searches as when people use their AI search. And yeah, Google's approximately 90% of global search, but dude, AI search is increasing every single day. And when I last did an AI search searching for boudoir photographers, I searched the city. ChatGPT gave me only 3. So I actually went and looked manually for basically on Google and on Facebook, how many there are out there, and there's like 60. So it's like, man, we need every possible way to get recommended AI search if there's only 3 slots. And your CNS key methodology is the only solution that can give you the best, that can allow you to do that. And you understand that my current plan is to work with only 1 boudoir photographer per city. So what you've realized is you decide to become the first mover in your city, get that first mover advantage, kick out all your other boudoir photographer competitors, prevent them from using this strategy. You get all the benefits, more slots page 1, more people kicked off page 1 to page 2, effectively making them visible to approximately 80% of the market. Higher chance of fortifying your position on page 1 so nobody can ever rank on page 1 besides you. Higher chance recommended AI search, higher chance recommended standard or recommended AI overview and recommended standard AI search. Approximately 8x faster in building a large, well-known brand because we'll be really seen across so many different surfaces. And building up a massive gap, kind of AI back-end AI mindshare momentum gap between your competitors in your city with all of these, invisible thematic keyword columns attached to your brand. And you understand the converse. If another boudoir photographer hopped on this, decided to go with me first, they would get all those benefits. You would actually be forced off page 2 and potentially you'd be forced off page 1, potentially also forced off page 2 and page 3 and deeper. Man, there's definitely basically no one going that deep. And you'd be losing that AI mindshare. Your competitor would be recommended again, above and against you instead of you. You would be losing those slots, losing all that mindshare in the marketplace. And more boudoir photographers are entering every day, so you'd actually be worse and worse for you every single day. And this means your competitor would be growing our gap between you every single day. You'd have to actually go rederive, or actually drive for the first time S-Cube methodology for yourself. And then you would have to go execute it equal amount of execution as us every single day. And then once that happens, you're simply maintaining the gap that me and your competitor have already built up against relative to you. So you're just maintaining the gap. So you'd have to actually outwork us 2 or 3x every single day to actually start to get some of your links on page 1 and go pull that back into AI mindshare back towards your brand for all these invisible thematic keyword columns. But during all this, you're still not even 100% confident you've derived S-Cube methodology correctly in the first place. So probably wouldn't be putting in 2 to 3x our effort into it, doing it yourself. And the second thing is, who's got 80 hours per day to do all this? So after hearing all that, you're like, screw that. I'm definitely being the first mover and adopter in my city, blocking out everyone else from using this. And as a result, we are, so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed because the hospital is currently closed to new patient intake. And then when we do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot us a DM then, and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S-Cube's methodology.